Warning! This program contains irrefutable facts, unapologetically biased opinions, and shameless homerism for the Southeastern Conference and its teams. Misguided fans of other leagues and teams may find some of the information in this broadcast to be disillusioning, deflating, or even offensive. You've been warned. Kip, Terry, Tony, Legend, Case, and our special guests, we own the airwaves. Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on Jocks 94.5. It's game time. Saturdays, 10:30, ABC 3340 television. Get ready for the SEC on ABC and get in the starting lineup. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. on Jocks, it is Kip and Terry after a great day of football, the morning after. Football weekend, total information domination.
Yeah, welcome back to the starting lineup along with Kai Gregory. Of course, he's with SPS, the Precision Staffing 205-682-2828. K4 wins. We have the legend Cave. You'll see him on his own. Maybe he'll have a couple of guests. What was the Bear Bryant right behind him? I love that segment. Coming up here in a few minutes. Terry Quillian will join us. Also, Case Keefer. He's going to be live from the desert. And Kip on location. We'll be checking in with him in just a few minutes. I'm Tony Curry. We've got now our playoff set up. And we've got 12 teams. It's something that we've already done with everyone else, with the exception of the Legends. So I'm going to get yours today. I'm going to go team by team. Tell me which teams have a legitimate chance at winning the national title this year. You can pick as many as you want. Kip only picked 4. He picked Indiana, which is surprising because he's been nailing Indiana all year long. He picked Georgia, Texas Tech, and Miami. Case also picked another team out of those 4, which was very surprising. I'll tell you who he picked after we get right done with yours. Let's go right down the line here. Let's go James Madison, yes or no?
No.
Tulane?
No.
Miami?
No.
Alabama?
Yes.
I'm shocked.
But there's a reason. Let me say, if this was a basketball tournament,
Yeah.
Alabama absolutely got a great draw. They can absolutely beat Oklahoma, Indiana, and Texas Tech. They would probably been favored over all 3 of those teams on a neutral site, or at least even when the season started. The reason I don't like Miami, they're in the Ohio State bracket and the Georgia bracket. That's going to be hard to
Fair
come
enough.
out of.
Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, they all have to bye. They only have to win 3 games. Everyone else has got to win 4. You mentioned the fact Alabama's only catching 1.5 points against Oklahoma, over under 40.5. I can't remember the last time we saw an Alabama over under in the 30s, which is a good possibility. All right, Alabama's in. If Alabama's in, the team that beat them the last 2 times they played, Oklahoma, yes or no?
No.
A&M?
No, because of where they got seated.
Okay, Ole Miss?
Possibly, but I would say no, because they'll have to beat Georgia and Ohio State to make it, and I don't see Ole Miss beating Georgia and Ohio State to make it.
And you know they're going to want to win that game just because they want to stick it back in Lane Kiffin's, you know what, but yes. I don't think it's going to happen. The Oregon Ducks.
Yes, because of where they're seated. They would have to go through Texas Tech and the winner of Alabama and Indiana to get to the final. That's a much easier bracket than going through Ohio State and Georgia.
Let me tell you what, we did this thing, and I'm not blowing my own horn, but I will. We did the payroll thing, the bankroll thing, and Tone the Bone came out on top this year, and I was very, very proud. That doesn't happen very often, so I'm going to toot my own horn here. I led it all right on Texas Tech, a team that beat BYU 29-7 during the regular season about 4 or 5 weeks ago. They came back. The game almost looked identical, although Texas Tech actually converted a couple of inside the 20s, a couple red zone, but they're still kicking field goals. They're going to do better offensively speaking inside the 20. That being said, that defense for Texas Tech is filthy. And, of course, Texas Tech is the first team in college football 2 years ago where they said, if you play with Tech football with us, $25,000 for every lineman that plays. Even if you don't play, you could be on the bench. Everyone gets $25,000 if you're a lineman. They know the great game starts at the line. Texas Tech, do they have a shot?
They have a shot, again, just like Oregon, because they're on the side of the bracket where they don't have to play Georgia or Ohio State to get to the final.
How the Georgia Bulldogs spilled their best. That game, we have not talked about it. We will in a second. They just laid the absolute woodshed to Alabama. It could have been a lot worse than it was.
We appreciate it, Kirby.
-3 yards, yes. Well, he finally got one. Of course, Alabama was 6-1 against the spread last 7 against them, 6-1 overall. There was no reason not to think that Alabama couldn't catch a couple of points and actually win that football game just based on trends. It wasn't even close. Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, definitely. Their defense has matured and probably playing as well as anybody in the country. The only problem for Georgia is they will have to go through Ohio State to get there, and I'm not sure they can accomplish that.
16-13, they win this past weekend. Indiana, that team, that Cignetti, of course, he ends up staying with a 10-year deal. Keefer has been just hammering on Indiana all year long. They haven't played anybody. They ain't got nobody. Then, of course, they beat Ohio State. And then he says, well, who's Ohio State play? And I'm like, dude, you have to say they played somebody. They played the entire schedule. Can Indiana run the table?
I think they can get to the final. I don't know if they can win it, but if you get to the final, you can win it. So I would give them the nod to say they're definitely in the conversation.
And finally, Ohio State.
Oh, definitely Ohio State, the defending champ. No, the Muhammad Ali of this whole tournament, no reason to think they're not the favorite. Even though they lost last weekend, I still give them the nod as the favorite.
Couple of games that I wanted to get into with Kai because if I have this down correctly, I believe you said Miami had a shot at the national title, and I have your name written down by Miami. Okay, well, both Case and Kip picked Miami, and so with Case to pick Miami, I'm kind of like, whoa. And the fact that his old man did the same thing and they both didn't know who they picked was kind of amazing. So Miami maybe have an outside shot, but you did pick A&M. You thought A&M had a shot. Why?
I do. I like the way they play, and their quarterback's dynamic. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's the Heisman Trophy candidate, but if he plays up to his potential, I think they got a shot to beat just about anybody. That's the only game in the first round I haven't picked. I'm still up and down and up and down and up and down. Miami's defense is really good. Texas A&M's defense I don't think is great, but that's the battle of the we beat the left out Notre Dame team. So
Legend Cave coming up here in just a few minutes. And by the way, I have to ask you the question. Be serious. Notre Dame got screwed, didn't they?
I think
Alabama should have made it in.
Oh, yeah, Alabama should have definitely made it in. The team that shouldn't have made it in was either James Madison or Tulane. Well, the system is broken.
It is broken, and it's still for another 5 years, so that's not going to change. But that was the rule. I'm talking about the committee. When the committee took Alabama over Notre Dame, you knew they were going to catch hell for it.
Well, I don't think it was a bad choice simply because Notre Dame's best win is over USC. And when you look at Alabama, the fact they went to Georgia and beat Georgia, they also beat a ranked Missouri team. They also beat a ranked Tennessee team. They also beat Auburn and Auburn. I just don't think the 10-game stretch that Notre Dame is claiming is that great. Couldn't have been ran by 12 other teams in college football with the same result.
Want to recognize your boy, Army-Navy game a little bit later on this afternoon. Navy giving up 6 I've seen against Army. That line looks a little small. 37.5 over-under. It's gone over 2 the last 3 times they played. What's your boy saying about the game?
He'll watch it with me, but being a Marine, he doesn't really acknowledge Navy that much. I've always, I've acknowledged them and will with that. But I'll tell you what, the best play Saturday might be a tease, taking Navy to pick in Boise State plus 16.5 or 17.5. Better watch out for them against Washington.
Yeah, we got another game going on later on tonight. Washington, Boise State in the LA Bowl, formerly known as the Jimmy Kimmel. And oh, by the way, he got a year extension contract. I can't believe that. Bowl going on a little later on tonight. All right, we're going to talk about K4 wins coming up. We got some great spots. We'll take care of the Legends Cave. Terry Quillian out the test with Case Keefer. Find out how he feels after telling the bone keeper behind him. Just stick it in there when you
It's a David Legend!
It's the starting lineup.
Ohio State, I told you now! But great year for David Legend anyway.
Welcome, everybody, to the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where we're going to give our 2 cents today on the college football playoff, really kind of focusing on the aspect that the selection committee getting a lot of grief for leaving Notre Dame out, and they should. Notre Dame, clearly one of the 12 best teams in the country, will be sitting home for this playoff season. But there's more to the story than that. The selection committee is only one cog in the machine. They are overseen and created by the executive committee for college football, which consists of an executive director and the commissioners of the various conferences that play college football. And there's one wild card in that group that makes all the decisions pertinent to what's going to happen in the postseason, and that extra seat that kind of unexpected person is the only individual representing just one school, and you guessed it, it's the athletic director at Notre Dame on the executive committee. So every procedure, every criteria, everything established, the Notre Dame athletic director is one of the big cheeses who makes those decisions. So it's kind of ironic. Maybe all of this wrath and frustration and just complete going out of your mind about Notre Dame being out should be directed a little closer to home, right there to the campus, because their own guy is in the controlling group that made these decisions. Just a little food for thought. All right, let's go to the teams that are in the playoffs, and we're going to start with the game coming up this Friday night. It's still 6 days away, but before we see you again next Saturday, Alabama and Oklahoma will clash in Norman. It'll be the third time they've played in the last year. Of course, Oklahoma has won both of those games, including the shocking 2-point victory in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama made tons of mistakes, kind of gave the Sooners an opportunity to score in what was a defensive struggle. I think you're going to see that again in this game. It's going to be back and forth, but I really believe that if Alabama plays mistake-free football, they are a better overall team than Oklahoma. So my prediction for round one coming up on Friday night is the Alabama Crimson Tide getting by the Oklahoma Sooners by the slightest of margin. Let's call it 17-16 Alabama, which will make them move on to play number one seed Indiana in round two in the Rose Bowl. And won't that be exciting? Kip Keefer here, back to the show on the starting lineup.
Hi, I'm Terry Quillian, and this week in the Coach's Corner we have SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. Man, SEC trophy presentations bring out some weird moments from Commissioner Sankey. Last year, when it was Texas versus Georgia in the championship, when it was time to present the winning trophy to the University of Georgia, Greg Sankey got up on stage and made a speech congratulating Texas on their wonderful first season in the SEC. Not a word about the University of Georgia defeating Texas twice, both in Austin and soundly in the SEC championship game. Oh no, instead it's congratulations to Texas. Of course, Commissioner Sankey afterwards blamed this on Laura Rutledge. Weird, like Laura Rutledge took the microphone away from him and wouldn't give it back. Like you, as the commissioner of the SEC, couldn't have asked for the microphone back and said that you had something else to say. Then this year, it got even odder, because when it became time to present the trophy to, once again, the University of Georgia Bulldogs, Commissioner Sankey did not shake Kirby's hand. He handed the trophy to Kirby Smart and literally scuttled off the stage. The SEC commissioner did not say one word at the presentation of the SEC championship trophy. Now, maybe part of that was that Greg's a little salty, because Kirby Smart has been pretty outspoken in talking about how incredibly difficult it's going to be for every SEC team to be playing a 9 SEC game schedule next year. And let's look at that. Commissioner Sankey, really, what were you thinking? You got completely bamboozled by the Big Ten and the CFP in this deal. The Big Ten last year was pushing for the SEC to play 9 conference games because they play 9 conference games. Guess what? Our 8 conference games this year on the part of SEC teams were harder than anyone in the Big Ten's 9 conference game schedule. And as Kirby Smart said this past weekend, man, it is really difficult physically going through the SEC and playing 9 SEC games. Man, that's going to take a toll on every SEC team. Also, Commissioner Sankey fell for the lie that strength of schedule was going to be super important in the CFP rankings, and that's why it would be okay to go to 9 SEC games. But was it? That's very interesting, because you had the Big Ten runner-up, shockingly, left in the number 2 spot this year, ahead of the SEC champion, who won that championship game in a hugely dominant fashion. Now, this was surprising to everyone. Take a look at the AP poll that had the University of Georgia in the number 2 slot. Some could argue if you were really looking at strength of schedule, it should have been in the number 1 slot, but okay, we're going to leave Indiana in that. But seriously, the Big Ten runner-up is ranked ahead of the SEC champion. How's that strength of schedule working out for you? Here's my challenge to you, Commissioner Sankey. You are supposed to be the commissioner for the SEC, not the commissioner of college football, the commissioner for the SEC. And this going to 9 games, it's a bad move for everybody involved.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few men have ever sent. Elvis Presley, Tupac, Taylor Hicks, Tony K.
Look at the bats.
Great Ty Gregory in the house today. Here, brother, I get it right. Man, he's been with us all year. He's family. Quickly, guys, we got about 3 minutes. Tony, can Alabama protect Ty Simpson? Can they make a run? Oklahoma, we got to have it. Can they get it, Tony?
The number is 100. If they can rush for over 100 yards, they get the win. If anything under 100 yards, and they've got to establish the run right off the bat. I don't know what Jam's up to. I don't know if he's going to be playing or not, but they've got to figure out some type of offensive weapon, offensively speaking. They've got to figure out a way to run the football. They've got to.
Kai, can they do it? Can they run the ball? The main thing against Oklahoma, you cannot turn the ball over. Alabama doubled Oklahoma in yardage in the first game, but it was the turnover. Can Alabama play a clean enough game to get out of Norman?
Alabama wins in Norman.
What? Did I hear that right?
Well, that's what he said.
No, come on now. This guy here, he's famous for gambling now. I mean, this just ain't nobody. I mean, this guy's famous. Why you say that?
I think Jim Miller's going to be back, be fine. Is it Thornton coming back as well? I know Oklahoma's stud defensive player is supposed to be back. They dominated Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa, and I think they're going to be really, really angry about the outcome of that game. Payback.
That over-under scares me. That 40.5 just tells me that it's going to be another mud bath, and if it's a mud bath, Alabama's going to lose. I hope not, but I mean, I'm just telling you, they need to put up at least 27 to win a game.
Tony, was you shocked that Alabama was favored by 1.5 in this game?
No, actually, I think Oklahoma's actually. Are they not favored? Yeah, I think Oklahoma was actually favored in that game. No, I think everyone says it's really difficult to beat a team twice. Why? If you beat them once, you should be able to beat them twice. And if you beat them twice, why can't you beat them 3 times? Everyone talked about the second time they played earlier in the season. There's no way Oklahoma's going to do it again. They did it again. Alabama needs to figure it out. It's a big ball game for Kalen DeBoer and his career.
Your history. Oklahoma wins regular season. Alabama wins in postseason. If you go back and look at Alabama, Oklahoma.
I like this guy right here. Hey, you remember it's just a game? Don't be like the starting lineup. Listen to me, Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, I get your name right after 2 years. Don't mess this up. Remember it's just a game. Don't be like the starting lineup. Sports insane.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I am a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Not great in this segment last week. 1-2 on the NFL bankroll plays, 0-2 on the college basketball plays. Got totally killed in both SEC ones I gave out. However, that is kind of outweighed by giving out Joshua Van. I said at 2-1 in the co-main event of UFC 323. He wins by kind of freak injury. However, I'm not apologizing. I'm not giving the money back. This is part of the thing. What we talked about on the segment was I like betting against these aging, smaller weight fighters. It does make injury more likely. So no, not the way I drew it up, but I ended up getting plus 210. Hopefully you got that good. I only said 2-1 in the segment, so we'll take 2-1, and it basically cancels out the college basketball losses. I like sometimes to focus on the process as much as the picks that way, but don't worry, we have a lot of picks this week. I'm going to get to as much as I can, a 2-pack and a bunch of different sports. Let's start here in Las Vegas, because I always like to say what's going on here. The NBA Cup tonight and Tuesday at T-Mobile Arena. The final 4 teams just set right as I'm recording this. First in the Eastern Conference, we have the Knicks taking on the Magic. Now, I really thought I would be on the Knicks in this game. I'm a little concerned about the Magic with their injury situation. Franz Wagner certainly going to be out of this game. Jalen Suggs still a little bit beat up. So I bumped this spread all the way up to 3.5 when I was making it. These two teams have already played twice this year. It's been right around pick'em. I thought 3.5 was a fair adjustment, but it's opened 4.5 That's just a little too high for me now. Usually I need like 1.5, 2 points to actually fire a bet. So this is marginal value, but I would go ahead and take Orlando plus 4.5. I just think that is a little too much, and that is a kind of a key number of 4, somewhat important in the NBA. So just wanted to do some NBA Cup coverage, and I like Orlando getting a lot of points against the Knicks, although I do ultimately think the Knicks will win. And finally, in the nightcap, we have the Spurs and the Thunder, and the talk of this game, we're going to see if Victor Wembanyama is going to come back. Now, to be honest, like I said, I'm recording this right after the Spurs punched their ticket, so I haven't even seen a line on this yet, but I'm going to give you the number I made on my game. I'm going mostly by data, then do some manual adjustments, but I came out with Oklahoma City -9, and now how did I get to that? Well, I made it about 50-50 that Victor Wembanyama comes back for this game. If he's not there, I think it probably should be Oklahoma City 11.5. If he is there, I think maybe even more like 7.5. You're going to say, Victor Wembanyama, one of the best players in the world, this freak, only 4 points. I think that's pretty fair with as good as San Antonio has played without him. And also, we don't know what state he's going to be in after missing a few weeks when he comes back. So right now, kind of in the middle, Oklahoma City 9. See where the number is today, and you can kind of go based off that. Next, let's go to 2 college football games today. Army, Navy. I'm the only one in the world in this game that seems to be on Army. I bet +7, -120. Earlier in the week, you could still get a +6.5. I just like the direction Army season has gone in. They've gotten better and better. I think their defense is much better than Navy's. Navy's defense is the one unit I'm really worried about in this game. I think it's going to be low scoring, and it's going to be hard for anyone to pull away, so I got to take a big spread in the Army-Navy game. Not something I would probably bet on a normal week because it's slight value, but everyone wants action on this. One of the only options in town. However, after that game, the laws are changed. Now we can't have another college football game on this day. The LA Bowl, Boise State and Washington. I'm feeling a little bit better about this one. I laid 9 with Washington. Why? Because it looks like Washington is going to have more of their full complement of players, their roster. This team is kind of building up into next year where they think they're going to go all out for a playoff berth. Really young team. Boise State, it does seem like they're going to have some opt-outs. Now, they haven't announced officially at the time of recording, but all the rumblings are they're going to have a couple guys on the secondary gone. They have an NFL left tackle in Cage Casey. That's who you really want to look at. I don't think he's going to play, but confirm before you fire on this. If he isn't playing, I really think Washington at less than double digits is the play today. So lay it with Washington, take the points with Army. College basketball, SEC, this is where I got crushed last week, but hey, I always talk about in this segment how I think as a gambler, sometimes it's good to be stubborn. Go with your initial reads. I think I was a little bit ahead of the curve trying to fade Arizona last week against Auburn. Not a good matchup for them. Arizona absolutely crushed them. But now you guys get to see Arizona up close and personal today in Birmingham taking on Alabama. And I'm undeterred. I'm going to go back to the well again. Alabama might even be an underdog here. I think it's going to be less than 3 if they're favored, even +1.5. I really do like the way Alabama's style sets up, so I'm going to go with Alabama over Arizona today, doing what Auburn couldn't for me last week. The other big game in the SEC, Texas Tech and Arkansas in Dallas. I've heard a lot of buzz for Arkansas all of a sudden. Hey, they hang close with Duke. They absolutely blew out Fresno State, who I know is not very good. Some other big wins in there. Said maybe they're a team that compete in the SEC. I don't necessarily buy it. I think they're going to be similar to last year, very talented, could make a tournament run, but I think they're a cut below some of these top-tier teams, and I have Texas Tech, one of these top-tier teams with JT Toppin and a Christian Anderson. They're going to be a slight favorite. I lay it with Texas Tech as well as Alabama today. And I know finally we are signing off with the big college football playoff kickoff game. Oklahoma, Alabama will be on before next week's show. Everyone has to pick, and I got to tell you, this is a coin flip for me. It's about 52%, 48%. I'm not making a bet. However, I do ever so slightly favor Oklahoma. So I'll go with Oklahoma, probably going to be an unpopular pick. Let's see what the rest of the guys have. Thanks for joining me for another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
Back to starting lineup. We got more college football, Army, Navy, Boise, and of course Washington a little bit later on tonight. Couldn't deal with our great sponsors. Woodhouse Day Spa, Stuart Rome, who's in the hospital, as a matter of fact. Have a little procedure going on the next couple of days. Our thoughts and prayers go to him. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Easy gift to go, easy to navigate. Go to the website, guys. Take you 2 or 3 minutes. You can do the gift card right there. Boom. You're in front of the TV by 2 o'clock today. Got no problems. Also, Sasquatch Toys and Comics. They have over 300,000 comics. Any kind of toy from Legos, Star Wars, Evel Knievel stuff, you name it. If it's still in the box, they buy, sell, and trade. Check out Sasquatch Toys and Comics. And K4 Wins. Woo! K4 Wins has been on fire. 21-6, I believe, our last 27. And tell me what a $100 bettor is up in 2025.
Well, our last 30 in college basketball were 22-6-2, so not too shabby. Last month we were just overall 103, 62-5, so plus 34.8 units. If you're betting $100 a game, you're up $3,480 on that. And year to date, and that's 62.4%. Year to date, we're 62.7%. 1,092 and 647. You would be up if you're a $100 bettor and you've been betting our plays all year long. you'd be up $38,000 right
And
now. All you got to do, besides going to the K4Wins.com, get us on Facebook.
Yep.
You can go on X, post free plays, every day.
We also have a show we do on Tuesdays and Fridays on the Tony Curry Radio Network. It's also on the Digital Sports Network, which is out of Fort Myers. We're also on SR 102.9. We're working on getting on decent and a couple of things. But we're getting a lot of viewerships, not only through our social media posts, but also on the live coverage on the YouTube channels. Check out K4Wins.com. K4Wins.com is fantastic. You can actually check it out because it's so topical. Well, it's difficult because we have 3 or 4 basketball games every single week for most teams, and of course a multitude of games every single night. So the lines change. So feel free to check out the site as many times as you need to. K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com, and get after it.
And and those basketball wins, we've got the ones that everybody talks about, that everybody out there does, with your Michigan, your Arizona, and Purdue wins. But we also had wins with Merrimack and Southern and Virginia Military Institute, Coppin State, Indiana, Purdue, Fort Worth yesterday. So some things on there, and we're not giving out 20-unit plays where we're asking you to pay $500 for this 20-unit play that's minus 380 for you to bet. No, we don't give anything out over minus 150, generally speaking, and we like to do spreads anyway, and those minus 150s are more hockey and things like that.
Big ball game, Alabama, Arizona this weekend.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him what he thought about the big Alabama game down at the Civic Center in Birmingham tonight. Come out. Support the team. Fill it up. Arizona, #1 in the country. What do you think?
I hadn't seen the line yet. We were talking before how much Arizona likes to get to the goal and how much Alabama likes to shoot from 25 feet.
Yeah.
Arizona's #1. Personally, I think Michigan's the best team in the country right now. Arizona, honestly, they're not going to do to Alabama what they did to Auburn, but I would be shocked if Alabama kept it within 10.
What a gift, too, man. I love these games. I love this time of the year when we have all these different tournaments and everything else. But to have Arizona and Alabama playing right here in their backyard, what a fantastic gift.
Bradley, they played at Alabama. He's the lead guard.
Gene Hallman and any of you guys that put those things together, man, keep it coming. Because the NBA games, the preseason games, love those things. Keep them coming until we can get one of our own. But it's been a fantastic season. So we'll continue to knock it out. We have got, of course, the bowl season kicking off. Bowl game later on tonight. Then we got more bowl games starting later on this week, and we're going to be trudging through every single one of them. I believe what Kip has told me, we're going to have a play on almost every single game through K4 Wins. So we will have a play. We may be leaning one side, we may love a side, but if I know you guys, we're probably going to have some pretty good leans on just about every single game in the bowl season this year.
Well, and the thing to pay attention to even tonight in the Boise-Washington game is the opt-outs and who's opting out. It looks like one of Boise's best defensive players is going to looks like he's going to opt out. It has not been 100% confirmed, and a couple of Washington players. But every single bowl game now, you've got to look at that in your handicapping, and that means a ton, as well as the 4 pages of coaches changes that we have, and who's going to be where and who's not going to be.
Be careful what you read the crap out there, particularly online. By the way, the UAB job was not was not put on Indeed and Monster. That was something a fan actually did, which I thought was hilarious. Mark Ingram thought it was funny. And Kalen DeBoer is not going to be the new head coach for the Wolverines. It ain't happening, correct?
Let's hope you're right. Or maybe not. Let's hope maybe not. You're right. Depends on the outcome.
How would Kip react to that if DeBoer left the SEC for the Big Ten, his absolute favorite conference?
Yeah.
Depends who we got back.
Well, there's one guy that thinks he's going to the NFL draft, and he better not. That's your quarterback. He better be coming back for one more season.
Somewhere.
He's only.
Hey, I will tell you before you wrap it up. There is a huge rumor going around that he's got, and I don't think it's just a rumor, that he has a disc issue in his back. The Ty Simpson does, and that's been the issue. And he may or may not be playing in the bowl game. Just something, even in the playoffs, to look out for.
Lamar Jackson's banged up too. We know that's playing out. All right, This is the starting lineup. Back at you every Saturday morning right here on ABC 3340, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Thanks for watching.